Hey everyone, welcome to the Collective Chatter podcast. I am Miguel, your host here with Charlie, and we are getting into our next topic, which was going to be chatting about the Funko Gold line. This is a new line that has released from Funko that we are super excited about, and we can't wait to talk about this.
Everyone, make sure you please like, comment, and subscribe. And now let's chat Funko Gold.
All right, guys. So let's chat about the Funko Gold line. So we have spoken about this line in the past. It was one that when it dropped, we were kind of a little iffy about it. We also didn't think it would last, but Funko is really putting a lot into this line. Anytime I feel like I read something that like talks about their major lines and things like that, like gold is always mentioned, and they have a section in their like Hollywood store or whatever I believe it is, or never one of them where it's like a whole room with like a throne that you can sit on that's in gold, and it's like insane. So if you guys don't know, this is kind of like the way I would describe it. So Funko Gold essentially is, the way I look at it, is like Funko's action figures. Like there's basically their line of action figures. It's not a pop vinyl like this, not a soda. They're a little bit bigger. They come with like a 5-inch version, which is a little bit bigger than a pop, and then they come with a 12-inch version, which is a little bit bigger than like the 10-inch pops. They are thinner, but their arms and legs move. So if you guys never have opened one or checked it out, they actually do move. That's why I say it's more like an action figure, because they have the joints where they move. But they started off with like a hip hop rock kind of line. So a lot of rappers came out, different OG, which those are kind of like the only ones I have. I had gotten like the Notorious B.I.G., Ice Cube, Tupac, Lil Wayne, and then I even got the 10-inch Notorious B.I.G., which is in like the cream white suit. So I thought those were pretty cool. And then I was like, now they're coming out with even more, and they started coming out with like rock. But it also has transitioned over to sports, and this has been kind of more one of the more major like sports lines for Funko. Which was NFL and NBA initially, and now we just recently got the MLB announcement. So what do you think about the line in general when it comes to like Funko Gold, or like what's your thoughts?
When it was first announced, I was intrigued by it, but they didn't really make any artists that like I personally had to have for my collection. And then I was really excited when they made the sports ones, but I wasn't just gonna jump into it. I know we talked about it in our sports episode, which if you haven't listened to, you should go check that out, about collecting. Like, do you want to collect just athletes you love or the teams you like? And for the pops, I've now, I'm getting a little bit of like just other athletes I like, but I normally was just like Mets and Jets, which are my two favorite teams and my two favorite sports.
Yeah.
They made absolutely no players on any of those teams. So I was like, I'm just not getting these. They just recently announced that they're making a Zach Wilson one. So I will be getting the Zach Wilson one. So that will probably be my first Funko Gold. And I'm assuming I will be able to get a Mets player because unlike the Jets, we actually have some pretty, well-known all-stars within the league. So I think I will get a Mets Funko Gold. I think the line's cool, but the one thing which I really want to get into with you during this chat is I think they need to even spread out this line to like pop culture and movies and TV shows. And I think it just totally separates what a soda or a pop is, because you said they're like action figures, but they have like a certain look. And
Yeah.
I think they'd be cool if they made like ones from iconic movies, or even who knows if we could ever get like Marvel characters. Maybe they can't because action figures exist in, other toy licenses. But if you get like the OG Avengers, like I would want these. Like I think I like the way they look. Like I said, I haven't gotten any yet, and I will be soon. But I think they need to branch it out for this line to survive. But like you said, they want this line to be a thing. Like they are pumping this. To me, they're pumping this line more than they ever even did sodas. Like I think sodas just became popular.
Yeah.
Luckily, I do think it's because of the chase element, which their chases for like a decent amount of these, but they're not good. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
So I feel like this line has a lot of potential, but right now they're failing it, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting because it seems like they're clearly doing well and they're selling and they're
Yeah,
just really going crazy with it. So maybe people are like going after them, but I do know a lot of people that just do not care about these. But I think the same way. Like I think it's super cool. I think initially when I saw them, I was a little bit excited, and then I kind of was like a little, and then when I got the hip hop ones in, I remember seeing them, and they don't resemble exactly like the person. It looked a little different, but I just like that they were unique. I like the box was smaller. I like that, like I said, it was kind of like an action figure. Um, and then the sports ones, which is crazy because I'm such a diehard sports fan. I didn't get any of them. I don't have any of the ones that exist currently, whether it's the NBA or the NFL. I think the MLB ones will be ones that I probably will eventually get. I think that once I see what players they come out with on that one, because that one was just announced, that'll kind of get me more excited. If we get some Yankees players, which I'm sure we will, I'll definitely be trying to get those. But I could see this line being one that I could be more picky on and like choosing only
yep.
favorites and not just trying to get them all. Like the regular sports pops line, I do get a ton of different players, whether they're my favorite team or not, just because I'm a fan of the sport or a fan of the specific player or whatever it is, not just the team. But with this one, I think I'll be more selective on it. I just think that it's it it's interesting because like you said, they should like put it out to different lines. I don't know if like I agree or disagree with that, but initially I do think it's odd that they did it with like music and with sports. Like
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of like a weird like I don't know if one made more sense than the other, honestly. Like I feel like maybe the sports one did. I
I
think the
agree.
music one is a little bit kind of random.
They shouldn't have
And
launched with that.
yeah, and I think what's odd is that like I remember when it launched with it and like the way that the text was gold, like cursive, like it did remind you of like a vinyl old,
It
like,
did.
premium look. So I was like, all right, so that makes sense to be music. But then the sports ones came out and it was the same. And I was like, well, this doesn't really make sense. So like the box it makes sense for this, but maybe the figure makes more sense to be sports. So I thought like that was a miss. But I think it's just odd because they're still making more like they're making kind of like the rock side. They made Slash and they made Jimi Hendrix. So like clearly they're making more of those, but then they're still coming out with more of the rappers and some of the OG hip hop artists. But the sports one started off kind of smaller. And one of the first things I said was, and now they're kind of doing it, is that they need some of these like all-star OG players, not just
Yep.
these new ones. And now they are like
Yeah.
now we got the official more one of the more recent lines of NBA, and
Yeah.
we're getting
Shaquille
like
O'Neal was
yeah,
one.
Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, like some of those guys, which they already make in pop form, makes sense. And now we're getting some of those, so that's kind of cool. I'm sure they're going to do the same thing with like the NFL line,
Yep.
maybe get some more of those like legendary type players. I wonder how they're going to start off the MLB one. It'll probably be more with the current ones, I'm assuming. But I don't know. It's like a weird line. Like I don't love it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I think they miss the ball on a couple of things, but I like the attempt and I understand like why they're just coming out with another figure. It's something different. It doesn't resemble anything else. It's not like a pop or a soda. It's kind of almost like a mix in a way. It's kind of weird. But yeah, it is like an action figure. But I
The
don't know
name's
if they did
weird.
it. Yeah, the name was weird. I think the thing is when the box, because you don't have one yourself, but the
No.
box does say premium vinyl figure. So it is, if this is what they mean, it is a more solid piece of vinyl. So like when you grab a pop, like I just happen to have one here. So you grab a pop, like this thing is like a pound, maybe. Like I
Yep.
don't even, whatever. It's tiny, it's light. The golds are like solid and like they have weight to them and they're
Okay.
like hard and they're like so the maybe if that's what they mean, the material vinyl, the whatever they use is more of a premium one, but it's not priced that way, which is odd.
That's what
They're
I just wanted
kind
to
of
bring up.
cheap. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of cheap. So I don't know what they meant by that. The box looks premium, black, it's got the gold writing, like looks better than just more of a plain white pop box. But I don't know what the marketing was on that. I don't know if that made too much sense. I think it misses on a lot of people because they don't know what it is. When you just hear Funko Gold, that means nothing. It doesn't tell you at all what that is.
Exactly.
Like a
And
Funko
like,
Pop, a Funko Soda, a Funko, Dorb, even like you kind of know a Funko Gold. Like unless you're in the community and and you're more in the know of Funko stuff, you probably have no idea what that is. And I don't know. I think that's like a big miss for them.
it is. And you took the words right out of my mouth of like, the name, the gold name makes sense when you look at it as it's a premium product. And like you said, I haven't actually have to hold one. So, I mean, you saying how premium it is makes sense. But you bring up the price point, like it's weird because it's cheaper than a soda. And at this point, it's on the same price as a pop. So I
Yeah.
think it's weird that they're like, I think they should have went with it being a more premium product. I don't want it to be expensive, but like maybe make them like $20 and they are, a premium product and you don't need to pump out as many of them. It just, I do think like, yeah, they're, people don't really know what they are. And quite frankly, within the community, they've kind of become like the butt of the joke. And
Yeah.
like the amount of TikToks I see of people like making fun of finding the chase in like the
Yeah,
store and
that's
like
the
not
that's
getting
the
it.
crazy thing. Yeah, I think the chase was the miss. I mean, they did it with the sports ones, and basically, if you guys don't know, like they'll come out with like a player like LeBron James, and he'll be in like his Lakers yellow, and then like the chase will be like a Lakers purple jersey, and it was like an alternate or home and away with like the football and stuff, and it was just kind of like the chase was supposed to be like a 1 and 6, and has like this weird looking like the chase sticker. I don't even like it
Yeah,
just wasn't like a it just didn't hit right, and I think they didn't do a good enough job to make the excitement of a chase. So like that's why you see them just standing around, because at that point you're kind of just like, let's say you see both of them up on the thing, you're not, it's no longer like, well, the chase is more rare, I want this. It was
yeah.
more like, this one looks better, so I want that one, or that one looks better, so I want that one, because it was just literally a different jersey color. So it wasn't like anything unique. So I think that's kind of where they missed. I don't think they need to have chases, honestly, if these
I
types of
agree.
figures, like they're more of the action figure, they're a sports player or whatever, like no, like just make that, like there's a reason why pretty much almost all the regular sports pops don't have a chase.
Mhm.
Majority of them, except for very exclusive random ones. But for the most part, they're normal. And then they'll come out with another version of their jersey, but it's just another common pop. It's not a chase version. Like the home and the way are just two different pops. That's what they should have done with this. And I think they kind of dropped the ball with that. So it makes it interesting, because I wonder if they're gonna like how far will this go? Like, are they gonna keep, I mean, who knows? Because they're still getting more and more made, and they're
Yeah.
clearly selling, and now they have the MLB license to make these. um I'm hoping they look pretty cool with the MLB, because they can have a glove, they can have a bat. um because it's actually interesting. Well, hopefully they do that, because with the NBA one, for instance, it's just a player, they don't have a
Yeah.
basketball.
It looked
um
like from the image that they teased, which is weird. They like, I think they only put on their Twitter account. Like they didn't put on their
yeah, it's
Instagram
like a silhouette.
silhouette, and doesn't look like they're wearing a glove or holding a bat, or maybe it's just a silhouette that is in the gold form, and they're not. It's not what the
Yeah,
figures will actually look like. I was
they
surprised
probably
by that.
won't, because I feel like a glove can get put, maybe not have a bat or a ball. Maybe that's a little too much, but I feel like a glove could like, yeah, because even I don't know if the silhouettes is as legit, because they're not even wearing a baseball hat. It was like
You're
hair.
right. Yeah.
So maybe that's just kind of like a tease type of thing, but not real, because if it's, they need to have a hat on. Like, come on.
Yes.
But maybe not, because they made the NFL ones without a helmet, and they made just the NBA ones. So maybe their whole thing is like, this is the person, like the actual
Yeah, but if
thing in like a jersey.
if they
But
make baseball ones without a hat, like you never don't have a hat on in baseball, even like you're wearing your helmet.
yeah.
Like football, I get it. It's because it's like, I know you're always wearing your helmet too, but you can't see
But
your
no,
face
there's
as
a lot.
obstructed
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
If they okay, it's funny.
It's,
I'm like,
it's funny, because it's like, what is this baseball player like? Some of these guys, you have no idea what they look like without a hat.
yeah, I agree. I mean,
It's actually almost
I'm
like them making a Tiger Woods pop with no hat on.
which
Could you
yeah,
imagine seeing that?
Yeah,
to make
it
sure
would
you
be
put that tan line
ridiculous.
because he always has that tan line.
Yeah, because always wearing that hat. Oh yeah, man. If I'm so excited for the baseball ones, but that will I be think the nail in the coffin if that silhouette's real and they don't have hats on.
I wonder when this is good because Funko's the one that announced it, so it was like very official.
Yeah,
But I wonder how far out they are and like when we get actual like news on these. But it's exciting because I'm a big baseball fan, and I think that's gonna probably be the line that I may get a few of in the sports side. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm so like torn on this line. Like I don't want to hate it. I don't want to love it. I'm kind of just like in the meh
yeah, I
section,
agree.
and like I have a few of them, like I said, but I mostly got them just to kind of see what they look like initially. It was that first initial like hip hop wave, and I was like, these are pretty cool. But then after that, I didn't go after. And I see them at Walmart. I see them randomly, and I've never even in the wild grabbed one and been like, oh, I definitely need that. And it's maybe because it's also never been like one sports specific athlete that I like love. Like if they come out with a person that I was like, yeah, I gotta absolutely have that. Like in football terms, they didn't come out with any Falcons, so I'm a Falcons fan. So I already wasn't getting any of my favorite players, and then the ones they were coming out with were kind of just like,
Yeah,
yeah, like not anyone super crazy. And then in basketball, like now they're coming out with some of the OG ones that I think I'd be a little more excited for. But like I'm not a huge LeBron James. I'm not a hater, but like they made so many different versions
hater.
of LeBron James. Like I didn't need to get all of those. I'm just like, But give me at least a Jordan. If they come out with a Jordan, I'll grab one. Like that's a cool one. I
Yeah,
think
I agree.
they make enough pops. They
I like
should
the
at least make
Shaquille
one
O'Neal one.
gold.
I'm happy that they made him on the Magic. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Um, but then again, dude, make the Lakers one the chase. Like, yeah, it's just like
yeah,
it's
that's
so
like what they
because they
should.
did it for Tom Brady. Like that's where I'm like
That was
stuck on
the
it.
only cool one. That was the
Yeah,
only
it was
very,
awesome.
very cool one. Like if you guys didn't know, Tom Brady one, they made the Bucks one, and then his chase was him in a Patriots jersey, which was super cool. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's unique. And it's like if anything, you're probably more of a Patriots Tom Brady fan
Yeah,
than a Bucks
exactly.
one. So that makes that one more desirable, anyways. So like you would definitely probably try to get that versus it being Tom Brady with a red Bucks jersey, and then the chase is Tom Brady with a white Bucks
And you can
jersey.
only do
And
that with
like,
a certain amount of people. And Tom Brady is a great example. I mean, no
yeah,
Patriots fan is ever gonna like have anything bad to say about him, even though he left. Like they just
yeah,
won't. Shaquille O'Neal, though, I honestly think is a good one. They could have made a Magic
yeah,
and a
with the
Lakers one.
NBA, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
this line, like I'm agreeing with you. It's like it's just whatever. It's all over the place. I just do think if they wanted to survive, they need to come up with another idea. Maybe it isn't movies and TV. Like I don't know what else there really is, but they need to think of something, in my opinion.
yeah, I think so going back to that because I didn't actually touch on it yet, but um expanding it out to movies and TVs, the only thing that I like feel like they don't, I don't know, it's movies and TVs is so big.
Yep.
There's so many different characters. There's an insane amount of licenses. Like, do you stick to the big shows? Do you do odd one-off ones that we know Funko loves doing? Like, do you go only with the major, do you go with animated ones or do you go with, so far, these are all real life people. So I feel
Yeah.
like they would more lend towards the real life ones. But if you do that, do you do comic style? You do Marvel,
I think they need to be
DC,
iconic
or
and
do you
like
do like actual like, yeah, big famous movie characters,
well, the
like,
first thing I think of is actually you like making the iconic horror villains would be pretty cool in gold, in my opinion. I mean,
yeah.
but
Actually,
you would want
I never even thought about that. I think if a genre or whatever movie would make the most sense would probably be horror.
yeah.
And that's almost because they're like characters, I guess. But I'm also okay with them not doing it at all. But I feel like if they did do that, that would be kind of cool. It has its own, like, just some fans of just horror that would bring into that. I would be excited to see like a Ghostface and Michael Myers. I could totally see that because they make, like, NECA makes figures of
Exactly.
these
That made me
people.
think of it. Like the Ninja Turtles could be cool.
Yeah.
You know, I brought up
I
Power
just feel like
Rangers in
it's
the
such a
past.
big line that they have to invest so much into it, and maybe they just don't know if they want to do that yet. Because
No, you're right.
now, because if you think about it now, if that were to happen, you're talking about making three completely different like molds and massive lines of almost every character you can think of with pops, sodas, and gold.
You're right. I didn't
And
really
like,
think of it that way
you
because,
know what I'm
like, you're
saying?
right.
Like
They
as a
all,
company, that's like kind of probably nutty to do. But even as a collector, like, do you want all versions of these? Like maybe that'd be kind of cool for maybe some big ones. So like I think they could maybe expand it into movies, like you said, maybe go to horror or whatever, but make it super limited, like just iconic
yeah, that's
characters
what I
basically.
would like to see. I think it needs to be super limited, make iconic characters, and I feel like if they ultimately do that, it probably is a sign that like this is our last chance to make this line work.
Yeah.
Um, but I never
And it's
thought of the
interesting. They
mold thing because you're right, they all kind of look the same. I wasn't
yeah.
because they're all different people, but like they're
Yeah, they're mostly the same stance, mostly the same thing, even across the board, whether it was the hip hop ones and even with
I feel
sports.
like Biggie's the
But
only one that has like a different body.
yeah, because it's like his jacket and they made him like
Yeah.
bigger and they actually made him bigger, which is kind of funny. It's like the 12 inch whatever version of him is like that thing weighs, bro. It's like heavy. It's not as heavy, but it's almost as heavy as
The
like
die
our
cast.
18 inch
Oh.
like Iron Man. Like it's got
Oh,
weight like that.
whoa.
It's not that heavy because that's a lot bigger, but
Yeah.
it like holding it one hand, like you're like this, like you can knock someone out with it. That's
Oh, wow.
literally
Okay.
like it's that solid. And it might just be because it's not hollow, like it's solid all the way through. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, that's a cool one. But I just think it's just like it made more sense with the hip hop ones that they really did went with like iconic people. They didn't just make everyone. Um, but with the sports, I think they just started off with like the now and who's kind of popular and versus mixing in old and new, but just with like bigger iconic names. So maybe with movies they could do that and not have to just do like every movie character. They could just do like a very iconic character from a horror movie or from even an action
Yeah.
movie, even and you know things like that. So
Which,
I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do that. I wonder if
yeah.
they will.
It's funny you bring up the like making iconic people, which they have, but do they make Outcast Funko Pops? I don't think they
I don't
do.
think so. I don't think so.
Yet they made them in Funko Gold, which is
And they
interesting to
made
me.
two versions of each.
Yeah. Um, and not it's just funny because I think too, like, not that TLC isn't iconic because they are, but like their Funko Pops just like sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's
And they
just
made two
interesting.
versions of them
Yeah.
in Funko Pop, and they didn't really like obviously they had the chase waterfalls ones, which were pretty cool. It's just weird. It really is. It always comes back to this, but like it's like whoever's in charge of these, like what gets made and what doesn't, and what's getting the concepts and like why pick this person, that person, like that team is just like all over the place.
Yeah,
Like there's
I
no
agree.
consistency to it. So yeah, overall it's not anything weird, but like I definitely want to know like your guys'
Yes.
thoughts, like everyone that's listening, and you know, hop over to YouTube. If you're watching here on YouTube, definitely comment down below. Let us know what you know. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of people that don't like this line. I feel like overwhelming in the community, like you said, it's more of the joke. It's more like, yeah, I don't like those or I never tried them out. If you have seen them in person, like you may like them a little bit more. Maybe you didn't know that they were action figures, that they actually move, because that's like one thing that's like is a little weird with like a pop. And besides the fact that you can like turn the head, you can't move like the arms, you can't move the legs, you can't put them to pose. These you can kind of do a little bit more of that. So that is kind of cool. Um, but like let us know your thoughts about that because it's a line that is now becoming bigger. I think it's like clearly way behind sodas and pops, but I feel like they want it to be in that conversation, like you said, with the way they're marketing and how much pushing. I just think they haven't done a good enough job for it to be in that ballpark, I think, in my opinion. But I am excited for the MLB ones either way. I think I'll still try to grab them depending on who they drop,
I
and
agree.
we'll see. Like,
I'm excited for them. I think that will be like it'll be big for the line, whether they do well or they don't. Like I think they need baseball ones.
yeah. And I want some legendary guys because I have a feeling the first Yankee they're gonna make is gonna be freaking Aaron Judge, and
100%.
he
I
might not
mean,
even be a Yankee next year, and it's gonna piss me off.
I mean, he's definitely the Yankee that will represent.
Yeah, that's who I just feel like instead of going with like goddamn Derek Jeter, which they don't make in Funko Pop form yet, which that's who they should do. Well, who knows? Maybe they'll go with Babe Ruth because they do make a ton of his pops. And if they go like super OG, maybe that's what they do. But
I think that would be
we'll
cool,
see.
but
We'll
I'm
see.
going with
They
its
could make him look
current.
like Biggie too, a little
Yeah,
bit
they
bigger.
should. They should. You get a
But
Red
yeah,
Sox one and a
it'll probably
Yankees
be
one.
current. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be the chase. They'll probably make current. I would think that's probably what they're gonna do,
Yeah, I do
and
too.
maybe go with more like the big,
It'll be the
stud.
guys we see in the pops. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Maybe make like a Trout, a Tatis, like
yep.
those guys, and then go from there. But I guess we'll see.
Guerrero, yeah.
Yeah. But that is all we have for the
Yeah, that's
gold.
it.
So yeah, just kind of wanted to touch on this line. We figured it wasn't like a super huge major line, but it is something that's kind of been a lot, talked about a lot. And being that the MLB season just, started and kicked off, and we're both super big fans of baseball, it was excited to see that Funko Gold is now gonna finally have the
Yes.
MLB side of things, and we'll see what comes out. But definitely let us know what you guys think, and what you guys are excited for. If you think, you're fans of the gold or not, just let us know. Because we would love to hear everyone's opinions for sure. Whether you love them or hate them, let us know
Yeah, let us
down
know.
below.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and just give us your opinions and let us know what your thoughts that the Funko Gold line could expand to. Maybe there's something that we didn't talk about, and we just love to know because this line, I think it needs help. But and I don't know if you have anything else, but until next week, everyone.
Now,
We'll talk to you
guys,
later.
see it.